Hey, this is Mico, and this will be the video about negotiations and dealing with objections. So, if you think you're not good in negotiations, you think you need to learn about negotiations, the easiest thing is not to learn negotiations, just to avoid them altogether. And that'll be my first recommendation. Do your job correctly in setting yourself up, meeting, greeting the customer, presenting everything, presenting the car, demonstrating the car, presenting the offer. And all negotiation will be a discussion about whether it's going to be this term or that term, whether they're going to add warranty or not, and just going to be something easy that you both kind of arrange in order that the deal passes through the management, the finance, business office, and they can get on with their car. So that's the goal. However, I understand it doesn't work every time. Sometimes you have to negotiate, and I'm just going to go over a few concepts and few ideas, maybe small tactics. I don't like tactics because it gets into like drilling specific words. Not my preference, but I will touch on a few of those. So before you start the negotiations, your state of mind should be that it's a discussion, and the discussion is aimed at getting to an agreement, and the agreement is not between you and the customer, it's between the customer and the dealership as a whole. Management represents the dealership, there's finance manager, there's the owner, so your job is to align them together. You are their agent, you are the customer agent. If possible, you're going to sit on their side, not sit against them and not fight them. You are with them dealing against the management. Use that to your advantage. Use the management, use the sales desk, the sales manager, the closer, whoever that is, as the third agent. This way, you don't have to fight the customer, somebody else is fighting the customer. Good cop, bad cop, that thing works every time. I've been there, trust me. So you want to be the good cop. A lot of dealerships allow you as a salesperson to desk your own deals. Try to outsource that. And if you can't, if it's your responsibility to desk the deal, take a breather. Don't make those decisions in front of the customer. If the customer says, well, I'm not paying 30,000, 25 is as high as you go, you don't want to sit there and actually consider if you want to accept that or if you want to counter offer. Just say, no problem, I understand, go through a few things, but at the end, just take the paper. All right, let me see if we can get this done for you, okay? Go outside, think about it outside. Sit in a different office, maybe run some calculations, run it by another salesperson, see if it makes sense. But do not open that door while you're in front of the customer. Negotiation should be always in the present. A lot of times customers don't want to commit. They never want to commit. They want to think about it. It's a big decision. So, people don't want to commit to anything. People like to procrastinate. It's much easier than making a decision. Negotiation, however, you should be clear about that there's no point in negotiating about tomorrow, okay? Because if we're not making the deal right now, tomorrow the car could be sold. You as a dealer, maybe not you as a salesperson, you want to be on the customer side, but the sales manager and the owner is at their full legal right to change the price tomorrow. If today it's 20,000 and you agreed to 19,000, tomorrow it could be 25,000. And there is no law that says that whatever you wrote on the piece of paper or the four square has to be honored tomorrow. Unless there's some kind of setup you have with a non-refundable deposit. Non-refundable deposit means they put 1,000 and if they walk away, fine, they walk away, you keep the 1,000. That's the only way I would accept that, whatever we offer customer can sleep on it, okay? Anything else is up in the air, okay? Anything else is hypothetical. So you don't have to be an asshole about it, but just legally, and there's a way that it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. So a lot of times, you want to be nice about it, just explain it to the customer that you're not trying to upset them, that you're not trying to rip them off. But the reality is that if somebody walks in an hour after your customer leaves and offers the full price, you have to sell it to the customer, okay? So they have to take that chance. Just make it clear that that's what's going on. And also make it clear that the price might go up tomorrow. It's not up to you. You don't want it to come up. You want to be able to help your friend, the customer, but it's just not up to you. Invite all the objections before you start, get the whole picture. Things like, I don't have the checkbook with me. I don't have insurance. I need to shop for insurance. My wife or husband needs to see the car. So things like that, you want them to come out before. You want them to come out during the test drive and demo so that you don't get boggled in negotiation on something that's not going to happen today. Because again, if it's not going to happen today, there's no point. And just quickly on this point, we deal a lot with the internet right now. Everything is remote, and Tesla sells online. They can buy the car remotely. They can buy the car via the internet or whatever. But in your mind, when you communicate with customers via phone or email, find a way to make this clear that, okay, you want to make an offer, you want to negotiate, that's fine. But unless you're here in person, there's really no negotiation. The customer, you have to tell them that you have to show commitment. And you're not asking for money. Sometimes, you might ask for a credit application, but really the commitment is that the customer is in front of you and ready to buy. So some kind of commitment. Negotiations are, it's whatever. But really, we want to concentrate if the customer really wants to make a deal, and most customers want to make a deal with the way we do business. Non-Tesla dealership, it's going to be in person. And if it's on the internet, they can pay out the asking price and they can do whatever. That's fine. All right. So you invited all the objections. Next step is same as with the numbers. With presenting numbers, it's important to be confident in your numbers. Don't be scared of your numbers. They could be really high. You might personally would not pay that much. Doesn't matter. That's the math. In terms of negotiation, it's difficult, but you have to be able to not be intimidated. Sometimes, especially if it's like, low-end economy brand dealership and some small town, then somebody walks in, rolls in a Mercedes, and he's a lawyer, he's a doctor, he's some kind of businessman, athlete, and sometimes salespeople get intimidated. Listen, you have the car, they want the car, okay? These are your roles. The fact that he's a doctor doesn't make any difference right now. Whatever money he has doesn't make any difference. He's in the government, as a policeman, doesn't make any difference. You have the car, they want a car, you're trying to work it out. That's it, okay? These are the roles that we're playing right now. That's the game we're playing. We're not playing the game of lawyer and, you're criminal or something like that. That's not the game we're playing. We're playing negotiation. All right, so your mental setup also should be that negotiation cannot be a fight because you cannot win it. If you go into it as a fight, then the customer is going to fight. There's this trick that if I do this and I'm trying to push it on this side, I cannot push it just from one end. I have to push it from both sides. So when I push it with my fist, I'm trying to push it from this side. The point is, if you as a salesperson are too aggressive and you sit in front of the customer and kind of sit like this and try to bully him, customers will either fight back and try to push back, or they're just going to run away. And they're going to say, okay, I'm just going to come up with some excuse. I have to pick up my kids. And they're going to bolt, and they're going to either continue this remotely, or they're going to continue it in a different dealership. Okay, so that negotiation is not a place where you don't want to fight. You want to be like water. Okay, so they're pushing you. Okay, take it back, retreat. Okay, no problem, Mr. Customer. I totally understand this doesn't work for you. How about we try something else? No problem. Whatever you want to do. I just want to help you get this car. Well, you're pushing for this price. I'd love to get you the price. Let's work together on trying to get as close to this as possible. How about that? Sounds good? So you cannot fight them. You have to be assertive in some way, not intimidated, but also you cannot fight. Don't make this personal. That's a big one. Don't make this personal, and be careful with sunk cost fallacy. So you spend some time with a customer. Maybe the customer wanted to test drive 3-4 different cars, and you spend half a day with them. At this point, you're so invested emotionally, and you think you spend so much time, you have to get something out of it. Listen, until you have a deal, there's nothing. You spend half a day, that happens. One day you spend half a day, don't make a sale. Another day somebody walks in and buys a car like that. That's just what we're dealing with. This is what you sign up for. So it doesn't matter how much you spend time with a customer. again, do your job right, and the customer will be set up to pay what you want them to pay. But if you didn't, and maybe you skipped some steps, and they just drove 3, 4 different cars, and then you find out that they cannot pay your price, and you have to lose all the profit and do something crazy. Listen, doesn't matter how much time you spend. You can still say no. Sorry, it's not going to work out. Okay, and you spend time, they spend time too. They don't want to walk out either. So don't be intimidated. Forget about. Don't make it personal. And again, like I said, you cannot win. So sometimes, if the sales manager accepts the deal, okay, there's no profit. It's a mini commission, but mini commission is a commission. You still need those deals. You need to take all deals. If the management decided to take the deal, it's all good. Okay, don't worry about it. I know you spend time. Maybe it doesn't work in your big scheme, and that's not $1,000 commission. Sometimes $75 commission takes you to the next level. Just sell the car. Okay, just move on. Cannot take this personal. All right. Go back to previous steps and just again reiterate that rapport and learning about the customer will make you money. It will make you money because they will accept, they'll be more willing to listen to you and accept what you're offering. But also, if you learn things about them, this is when you can use that, okay? Because then you can say, well, listen, you said you wanted a safe car, right? This is the safest car we have. Or you said you want this, this, and that. This is what we have here. Customer cannot argue with themselves, cannot go back on what they said. And if you did let them talk before that and listen, then you can pick up, okay, they said this, they said this is important, they said that, and then you can use that. We don't want to manipulate them, but they said that. This is the reality. So ask them, you said that, so why don't we just wrap it up and get it going? Okay. So going back, previous video, also really important on how you present the offer, how you structure the offer. So before you go into negotiation, the beginning is you are making the offer, and the offer, it's good for you to include things, it's called offer bogey. I don't know what it means. It's from golf, but to me, what it means is that introduce things into negotiation that normally people don't even think about. High down payment, short term, include maybe some aftermarket product, some protection, paint sealant. Just include this in the pencil. Then now they negotiate on removing those things, but they not negotiate on the price, and will make it easier to at least keep some of the profit, all the profit. Next concept, also really important, and a lot of it's a mental thing. Don't open doors you don't want to have open. And what I mean by this is that, like in a previous example, for example, I said previous video about presenting offers. You present the offer and you shut up. Okay, let it be quiet. Let them think. What some salespeople do, they will bring the offer and they will go through the offer, and they're so nervous and so scared that they might lose the deal, and they're so scared of the numbers because the numbers are so high. They will say, okay, and your payment is $500 a month. And, maybe we can work on that a little bit. Oh, you just opened the door you didn't want to open because, you said we work on that. Now, if you go to the sales manager and the manager does not want to discount it, now you look like an idiot in front of the customer, and the customer is already heard one thing, now you're saying the different thing. So don't open these doors. Don't open, like when people list their cars online for sale, and it's 10,000 or best offer. That's it. That means nobody's going to pay you 10,000. That's just what it means. Okay. I'd rather, and I always recommend it to anybody that sells cars privately, price it lower, final offer, no negotiation. Take it or leave it. That's it. Okay. Don't open doors you don't want to be open. You don't want to open. And other things like with negotiation, it's something about your trade. It's something, they say, well, can I think about it and have this offer tomorrow? If you say yes, you just open the door. But you can say no. And you can explain, no, listen, I cannot hold this offer until tomorrow because somebody else can buy it, or because market keeps changing all the time. Just something. But keep doors you don't want to open closed. Let's see. And actually, it ties up to the next point is that you have to drill. And this one is tricky, okay, because I'm personally very much against lying. I don't want you to lie to customers. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to my customers. Be truthful, be congruent. But in the concept of negotiation, what is negotiation? It's a discussion, but it's a game. Okay, now we have roles. I'm the salesperson, you're the customer. My job is to get as much money as I can. Your job is to pay as little as you can. In this concept, there's no such thing as lying in certain things. Okay, and I'll give you an example. When the customer says, um, let's say this, if the customer brings up, I hope you're never going to ask them what your budget is, but if the customer says, well, my budget is $300 a month, okay, they're lying. Most likely they're lying because it's just a negotiation thing. And in the concept of negotiation, it's fine. I don't see it as immoral. I'm not going to get upset that the customer says that. The customer says, oh, you're giving me 5,000 for the trade. CarMax offer me 9,000. What are you going to do about that? A lot of times I can see right through this. I know it's a lie. So it's fine because in this concept, it's not lying. That's part of the negotiation. Unfortunately, that's what it is. On the part of the salesperson, of the dealer, when the customer asks you, what is your best price? Well, first of all, if it's not a negotiation concept, you have to be able to answer that. But if it's in this one, so you presented the offer 30,000, they ask you, what is your best price? 30,000 is the best price. Be able to say that. Now, is that the best price? Well, meaning like, will you sell it for less? You probably will sell it for less, but it doesn't mean you have to say that, okay? Another question is a lot of customers will ask, is this the best you can do? Again, customers, salespeople that have a lot of fear, that are afraid of losing that deal or half a deal, a little bit of commission, they say, well, probably I can do a little better. Let me go see. Let me go see what I can do. Again, you open the door you don't want to open. You have to be able to answer this so that door doesn't open. Is this the best you can do? Yes, this is the best we can do. Now, if the customer says, well, in this case, I'm not going to make a deal. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Out of curiosity, what's the deal you would take today? How close to that you will come today. So when you close the door, it doesn't mean you lost the sale. If the customer is sitting, the game is still going on. The game is not over. The game is over actually, it's either when they bought the car or when they bought the car somewhere else, or if they told you we decided not to buy a car, okay? If they left and, you didn't agree on the price, the game is still not over. That's still a game. A lot of customers think that they have to leave and they're going to sit at home and wait for you to call them. The game is still going on. Don't worry about it. All right. So those answers, a lot of things like, in the whole process, you have to drill them. You have to drill them and be able to, when you wake up, if somebody wakes you in the middle of the night and say to you, what's your best price on this car? You have to be able to roll it off your tongue because you drilled it, okay? For example, I'll give you an example, something really easy. I'm on the lot, just met a customer, is just pointing on this used car. What's your best price on this car? Sir, not only we're going to offer you best price on this car, we're going to offer you best financing terms and the value for your trade. Have you test driven this car? Okay, I answered. I was congruent. I did not say, I did not say, oh, let's see what we can do, or just started thinking about how much we can discount it. Just open the door that should not be open. Be able to answer it and move on. Is this the best you can do? This is the best we can do. Okay? Everything you say, you go through the offer, you made some adjustments. Get input from the customer. Ask a question. Does this make sense to you? Is this something that will work for you? Are you okay with this? Should be like, this. You understand this? Can we move on to the next subject and get it done? Condition everything. Everything that if the customer starts pushing back on something, well, I don't have 10,000 down, or I'm not paying less than, I'm not going to accept less than 6,000 for my trade. Okay, I understand that. After everything, there are a few steps, but if we can work on your trade and get you something you will accept on your trade, are you ready to buy the car today? Okay, this is, you have to isolate everything and see, is this the one thing that's gonna stop it? Because they say, okay, well, either yes, or they say, no, I'm also don't have that much money down. Okay, so if we work on your trade and lower the down payment, can you buy a car? Are you ready to buy the car today? And just keep asking until you combine this whole thing, the whole picture, you have the whole picture, and the customer says, yes, if we can work on all these things, I'm buying the car today, then you can move on. One thing that's kind of a basic, and a lot of salespeople, especially new salespeople, either don't know or forget about it. Let's say it's just about the price. You could not. It's not about the payment, they're paying cash, or it's a cheap car and it's a $10,000 car, and they say that's too much. I'm not paying that. Okay. Sometimes salespeople have this instinct, especially when they're intimidated, to say, okay, let me see what I can do. They go back to the sales desk. 10,000 is too much. It's not going to take it. Okay. What do you think the salesperson, my manager, is going to say? How much will he take? Because if you discounting the car without a commitment from the buyer, you're negotiating against yourself. The customer just manipulated you to lose your own money. Just you're fighting yourself. Instead, if they're not taking your price, okay, what did you have in mind? What is your offer? How close? Sometimes even, weaker option will be how much you will pay today. The better option is how close to this price will you come today. Okay, so you get that offer. Before you run to the desk, first of all, you want to question this offer and you want to bump it. Okay, this is why we have, again, it's not manipulating, that's the part of the game. So our car is 10,000, they're offering 8,000. First thing you say, listen, it's not going to happen. I can go to the sales manager, I can tell him this is what you're going to pay. He's not going to accept it. He might accept 9,500. Will 9,500 work for you? So they might say yes, or they might say no. You're trying to bump it though. They'll say, well, fine, not 8,000, I'll pay 8,500. Well, you got something. Always try to get something. When you get the offer, another thing you have to do is to question it. Well, unless it's something very reasonable, it's $10,000 car, they just, well, listen, I never pay the asking price, you have to take 500, and that's just me. Okay, try to bump it, maybe, split it, something like that, and move on. But if it's something significant, you question it. Okay, well, I appreciate it, but I'm just curious, how did you get to that number? And then start questioning. Well, if they say it's their budget, this is actually, I love that when they say, oh, my budget, especially when it's a cash deal. Oh, my budget is $40,000. Really? Your budget is 40,000 and you're not going to go 42? Somehow you got to that magic number. If you have 40,000 in the bank, you can do 3,000 on a credit card. I know that for a fact. So when they say, oh, my budget is 40,000, okay, no problem. Then this is just not the right car for you. We have other cars. How about this Toyota Corolla instead of this BMW 5 Series? Okay, I mean, it's kind of like you're ridiculing the customer, but if you can do this without fear, it actually works because, they will understand that it's ridiculous to have a budget like that. Now, budget could be different thing like on the payment. And that could be a real thing, poor people on a tight budget, they don't have a lot of income. I want to be really understanding for people like that, even though, as a BMW salesperson, I don't deal with them, but, I want you to be passionate and compassionate towards those people. But, okay, so your budget is 300, this is 400. Let's work on your budget, okay? How much more money down can you get? How about we take it from 60 months to 72, okay? There are ways, or maybe again, different car. We got to find a different car for you. I'm sorry, that's your budget. I want to find you a working car that you can get to work and to school. Let's find you a car that works for you. This is just not the right car. Not going to happen on that. Sometimes they'll call their bluff, or you go to a different car. But most of the time, it's going to call the bluff. They will be able to bump their budget. All right, we're moving on to objections. We're already on objections. So somebody is objecting, and this is also kind of like not mine. I took this from Tony Robbins, that he applies it to everything in influence, but specifically for sales. Somebody says something like, it's too much. Your first option always is just to ignore. Yeah, I understand that, but I understand it's too much, but still, which payment will work better for you, 48 months or 60 months? Just ignore it. And a lot of times they'll be like, it costs too much. It's just to like like think like they're blurting something up in the air, just they're talking to themselves. It doesn't mean it's an objection. So a lot of times you can just ignore it. Now they say, listen, I'm not paying that much. You're not hearing me. Okay, this is too much money. This your price is too high. Feed it back. The price is too high? I'm curious. What do you mean when you say the price is too high? Compared to what? Compared to question it. Let them talk. And sometimes they'll just, well, the price is too high because, last time I paid 40,000 and now I'm trading this car, it's only worth 5 and this and that. And sometimes they will vent and just, what, fine, let's just go with it. I understand. Sometimes they will talk themselves out of it. So you fed it back. Next step is question it. Like before with the budget, why do you think it's too high? Why are you not willing to pay this? You do not see the value. So the way to question is like this. I know you say a reason. I know you have a reason for saying that the price is too high. May I ask you what that is, what that reason is? So you don't say, I agree with you. You don't agree. The price is the price. But I understand you have a reason for saying that. May I ask you what that reason is? And again, they might vent and either come up closer to it or just talk themselves out of it. And maybe it's something else. It's not really the price. Maybe there's something else. Maybe it's not the right car. Maybe they're worried about, that the car does not have enough warranty. So you can include more warranty, just be a little bit creative on that. And after you talk about this, you nail it down. Okay, you got all the objections together and say something like this. If we can figure all of this, are you ready to take the car home now? Again, you always have to tie it down. So this is for right now. This is not for tomorrow. If their wife needs to see and approve, okay, I understand that. If we can call your wife and discuss it with her right now, can we make a deal? Or, okay, I understand your wife needs to see it. How about we call her, see if she's available, and we'll drive the car by your house right now so she can see it and give you that stamp of approval. I totally understand you want to keep your wife happy. I'm the same way. If we do that, can we do the deal today? Are you okay with this deal? Okay. Align and provide a cushion. So every time, again, remember, you want to be like water. You don't want to fight him. You don't want to say, no, this price is not too high. This is the price. This is the right price because we did this, this, and that. We know it's the right price. You're wrong. Definitely don't want to do this. I appreciate what you're saying. No problem. I totally understand. I know you have reasons, and this brings up a question. And then you do like a politician, okay? That's a skill, okay? But think about this and see if you can develop the skill in yourself, reframing the question. So let's say customer says, this is too high, and just the price is too high for this car. Okay, I appreciate it. I know you have reason for saying this. So this brings up a question. And I think the question is that since you do want this car, the question is just how can we fit it within your monthly budget? Is this the right question? Is this what we're talking about? Most likely, once you reframed it, you gave them different question. They're like, well, yeah, I did want a car. I came here for a reason. I test drove for a reason. I've been here for 3 hours. There's a reason I've been here. I want a car. So, I guess the price is not too high. Price too high is not really the question. And then you answer the question, okay? Answer the question and move on. Again, tie it down. That solves it, doesn't it? That's basically it. For the whole process of negotiation, you want to keep it short, okay? You don't want to go back and forth for hours. Customers get just exhausted. It's mentally exhausting. This fighting is exhausting. Really, ideally, you bring the pencil They object to something, you go back to the desk, bring second pencil. If they don't accept the second offer, I would try to bring either the third offer should be final, or you bring the sales manager, and then the sales manager comes in and and does his own thing and then closes the deal. That should be it. A few minutes in between, there are discussions, but three pencils max. The whole thing should not take more than 45 minutes. And even 45 minutes is pushing it, because really the whole buying transactions should not be more than an hour. If you're spending 45 minutes on negotiation, that's already too much. That's basically it. But last thing, that's kind of like an opportunity to, if you want to learn more about negotiation, become like a real expert, if you believe this is something you need. There's first of all there are a lot of resources from people that a couple of authors that were FBI negotiators, and they wrote books about how they do it, how they go to get to the side of the you know whoever is on the other side, in this case your customer, how they read body language, how they use body language, how they change their wording. For example, it's never I, it's not, well, let's see what I can do. Well, we as a dealership, okay, we are as a dealership, or they, that's even better, that's the next level. Okay, I'm with you, the customer, let's see if they the desk, the owners, if they're going to accept that, if they will allow us to do this the way we want it to do. So again, read some books, and FBI negotiators are a good source for that. There's another aspect of this. There's a new book. It's called The Culture Map. Look it up, by Erin Meyer. She's a professor at a business school in France, but she's an American. And she writes about cultural differences. Now, there's like, we all use stereotypes, okay, in life, and especially in car sales. A lot of people fall into those stereotypes too much. And they start prejudging the customers, some people become actual racists, and we definitely don't want that. But what happens is there are cultural differences. There are differences in communication as a whole, how people give and accept negative feedback. And there are big differences in negotiations. So, for example, again, just quick examples. It's not just to tell you which customers you want to avoid or not. If it's somebody from Southern Asia, like India, they are really good in negotiations. Okay, just know this is what they do. It's not even that they're good. You can get better, but they enjoy it, and it's a part of it. Everything has to be negotiated. Okay, so that's normal. On the other end of it, there's the Japanese culture, where everything is on the level where it's a lot of things are not spoken, they're understood. So what will happen with those is sometimes you make an offer, they will feel that it's insulting to negotiate. So they might accept the offer, but they will just get out of it, or they will never come back to you. Or, again, you have to be really careful, because, again, they're not going to say no. They just can't. That's against the culture. But it doesn't mean you're going to get the sale. So again, if you want to learn about those differences, the Culture Map, really good book. I would recommend that. And that's it for negotiation. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.